Hey, a good Saturday morning. Thanks for joining us on KION. Luis Alverez, CEO of the Alverez Technology Group, visiting with us. We're going to talk about email security today. And boy, there's a lot of that we need to know about. Luis, welcome back to the show.
How are you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing much better. Thank you so much. Now, let's talk email security, Privato, and the NSA. Let's first go back to Privato, which we spoke about on Monday. What exactly is Privato?
Well, Privato Security is a local company based in Monterey that makes an email encryption client, a service, if you will, that allows you to send and receive emails in an encrypted format and communicate in a way that really cannot be broken. They have a patented system that double encrypts emails and makes it extremely difficult for anybody who doesn't have the right keys to be able to break the encoding. One of the things that makes Privato's security encryption system different is, unlike some email encryption services, they don't host the email that's encrypted. Most services, when you send and receive encrypted emails, they'll hold it for you in a hosted facility someplace that you then access to read the encrypted email, which means that facility could be subject to a government subpoena, one of those FISA court, secret subpoenas. So it's, for a lot of people, they're not comfortable with that. The way that Privato works, though, is it encrypts the email on your local system, whether it's your laptop or your PC, and then sends that encrypted email to the recipient, who then unencrypts it on their system. So the reality is that there's no place in the middle where that email can be grabbed and examined.
Now, have you seen this system work? Have you, in working with the Privato people, have you seen how this works and how long it takes to encrypt the email?
We've been working with them for several years as they developed the product to the point where we're really familiar with it and have resold it to a number of our clients who are using it as a way to communicate securely. So we're very familiar with the way that the system works and the way that the encryption scheme has been designed to prevent anybody from cracking it, if you will. There's multiple layers of it, so you can get through one layer, but then you got another layer that you're looking at.
How good do you think it is?
For email encryption, I think it's one of the best products out there, especially because it uses that non-hosted system for transferring emails, which makes it extremely difficult for somebody to be able to intercept something and try to crack it, if you will. Unless they can get to your laptop or your desktop where the emails are stored, it's virtually impossible.
And I think, as we had mentioned earlier, Luis, that the important thing for people to remember is that, and they probably get this admonition or this warning from the folks at Privato, is only communicate back and forth between yourself and people who are enabled to receive this. Well, now, let me ask you this. Does the recipient needs to be a Privato customer as well, or can I send it to somebody on Gmail? If I'm using the Privato service, can I send that email to someone who uses Gmail, or is that just defeating the purpose of it?
No, actually, that's a really good question. And the way it works is, if you you encrypt an email and you send it to somebody that doesn't have the Privato software installed, they'll get a notification that, hey, there's an email message waiting for you. And then they go through a process of releasing that message to themselves, and they can read it. They can't change it in any way or alter it, but they're able to look at the email and read it, because it'll be decrypted for them once they authenticate that they are the proper recipient.
Is it advisable for them to forward that to anyone else?
Not really. Obviously, if the email was encrypted in the first place, there's a reason that it was encrypted. So it may be, for example, a healthcare provider. And by the way, healthcare providers are one of the areas that we've had a lot of interest in email encryption, so they can communicate with their patients. But if a patient receives a piece of information from a healthcare provider that was encrypted in the first place, there's really no reason to forward that to somebody else in an unencrypted format. So it was encrypted for a reason, and you should treat it as confidential information.
Okay, see, that's the important thing for everyone to remember. Chain's only as strong as its weakest link.
There you go.
Now, here's the other thing about this. This is not all, what we're talking about here with Privato and other types of services that may come along to offer this super encrypted email. We're not talking about people that are necessarily involved in the transportation of clandestine information. This isn't all black hat CIA, NSA type stuff. This is you and I. This is our medical records, which are very private. This could be our financial records, information, if CPA, stuff that we do with the CPA, or some private conversations with a lawyer. I can see a need for this type of confidentiality for virtually anybody.
If you are, especially in the business of regulatory compliance, for example, doctors and healthcare providers that have to adhere to HIPAA, or if you're a financial services person, you have Sarbanes-Oxley and other regulatory requirements that dictate how you're supposed to communicate and what kind of protections you should have on those communications. There's no reason in the world you shouldn't use something like this. And if you're just a regular, ordinary citizen and you want to make sure that the emails that you send to other people, maybe confidential matters of your state or of just stuff you don't want anybody else to read, it's a pretty inexpensive way to make sure that the stuff you send can't be tapped into.
And I think, Louis, another thing to consider here is that businesses will be interested in this, particularly those that are doing business internationally and are worried about corporate espionage, I guess is one term to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. If you're communicating, proprietary information, it may not be secret to anybody but you don't want that information to get out to a competitor or to somebody who might leak it to the press, for example, and create controversy where none really exists. So there's a lot of functionality and usability for something like encrypted email.
Well, I'm also thinking of, for example, businesses in this country that have contracts with the DoD, with the Department of Defense, that are developing technologies. They would certainly be prime candidates for this type of service.
Yeah, and they are also a prime candidate for targeting by foreign services. So it's definitely something to think about.
All right. So if you are interested in finding out more about Privato, Louis has the website address for that for more information.
Yeah, if you want to check them out, you can go to privatosec.com. That's privatosec.com. Or you can obviously give us a call or email us, and we'll be happy to talk to you about it since we are their local reseller.
And it's Alverez TG on the web, alvereztg.com. And the iTeam toll-free number, Louis?
Give us a call at 866-78-ITEAM. That's 866-784-8326.
Louis, thanks so much, and have a great rest of the weekend.
You too, my friend. You too, my friend. You too, my friend.